Hey, weight loss warriors. We're kicking off a special series called Let's Get Real. And today's video will talk about why you really needed weight loss surgery. Thanks for tuning in to the Working Girl's Guide to Weight Loss Surgery. As you can see, if you've seen some of my other videos, my background's a little different today. I'm sitting on my big comfy couch so I can get comfortable and we can get comfortable together and talk about some topics that might be a little uncomfortable. As I said in the intro, I'm starting a series called Let's Get Real. And the hope of the Let's Get Real videos is to develop growth for you as a weight loss surgery warrior and give you an opportunity to not only better yourself physically, but also emotionally. So today's topic, I've kind of been, it's been on my mind for a little while because I think in looking at people that I've talked to that have had weight loss surgery, looking on groups, it seems very common. I think it's pretty standard when you have weight loss surgery that everyone goes through a psychological evaluation of some sort. They vary depending on your insurance. Some require you have a couple of sessions. Some may you only have one session. I know personally, I technically had two sessions. The first one I met with a therapist, and it was very brief. They just kind of went over what the surgery would be and gave me a take-home test of, I think, 320 questions. I went for the second visit. They scored it, came back with some things that they thought through their professional development that might be an issue for me or were issues for me, whether I realized them or not. And they deemed me ready for surgery. So that was it. And I think that tends to be what happens with a lot of bariatric patients. You go initially and you're trying to get all your check marks of everything you need to get done to have the surgery. You get cleared from your primary care doctor for the physical aspects. The psychologist, psychiatrist clears you for the psychiatric, and that's the end of it. I don't hear a lot about people really following up and having additional therapy. And I personally think that that is something that certainly should be an important aftercare product of weight loss surgery because, frankly, unless you deal with the issues of what caused you to be in a position where you would need to have weight loss surgery, you're bound to repeat the same mistakes. If you ask people why they wanted to have weight loss surgery, most people will tell you they want to lose weight, or they'd say that they want to be healthier. But it's a lot more to it than that. I mean, you have the need to get the weight off. But again, unless you deal with the issues that may have caused you to gain weight in the first place, you're bound to repeat the same mistakes. You can have the surgery, you can lose 200 pounds, but if there are issues that aren't being dealt with, the weight will come back. You haven't had behavioral changes, aren't just a matter of eating enough protein, drinking enough water. That's part of it. That is certainly a very important component to aftercare for weight loss surgery, but so is the mental health part. For me, I am an emotional eater. I recognized this a long time ago and I am aware of it, but I've never seen anybody about it. I haven't seen a professional to say, okay, why is it that when certain things happen, I choose to turn to food. I know that's not something I should do, but I do it anyway. But why is that? I can take a look and self analyze and go back to my childhood where I was not comfortable in my own skin. I developed earlier than a lot of my classmates, and I was made fun of. And for me, food became a trigger. And it was something to comfort me. We talk about comfort foods, but, is it good to want to rely on the comfort foods? And is that a good mechanism? Is that something that we're teaching and passing on to our children? I think we do, whether we realize it or not. And we're creating additional problems. So if you are like me and you are an emotional eater, if you have a bad day at work, do you come home and eat all these foods that you know as a bariatric patient you shouldn't eat? Do you find yourself in a situation where maybe you're in an abusive relationship? Maybe you live with somebody that is a saboteur and they want to keep feeding you and either keeping you overweight or encouraging you to eat so that you gain weight because they want control over you. And if that's the case, why is it that you are in that situation? Why do you choose to stay in that situation? Why have you chosen to be in that situation in the first place? So, really, the point of this video is to say, look for the reasons why you gain the weight. It's not just psychological. Excuse me. It's not just, well, I'm big boned and that's why I was overweight and that's why I needed weight loss surgery. No, there's more to it. There's a lot of issues that go on with bariatric patients that we don't talk about. And like I said, there aren't mechanisms that are permanently in place for dealing with those issues. Yes, you have to have visits with your surgeon X amount of times, whether it's a week after surgery, a month after surgery, 3 months after surgery. That's pretty standard. But most of the times those surgeons are not saying to you, have you gone to see a therapist? Have you dealt with why you may have been overeating? Have you dealt with the issues at home that may have caused that? Have you dealt with the situations at work? Maybe you're in a situation where you are in a very stressful job and you turn to food as a comfort. And I'm just, I'm speaking for myself. Not, love my job. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm speaking from my own experience as far as the behaviors that I know that I have. And that's not to in any way minimize other psychological issues that may come to play. Perhaps you were someone who was physically or sexually abused as a young person, as a child, as a young adult. Maybe you have, as a result of a situation like that, you may have continued to eat and made it so that you seemed invisible. I mean, that's something that's very real, and that's something again that we don't talk about. It's very common for people who are overweight to not want to be seen, and if they aren't comfortable with being looked at, whether that's being looked at professionally or being looked at as a potential mate, why is that? What has happened that made them that way and made them want to not be seen? If that's you, or if any of these things are related to you that I've touched on, or if it's sparking some other conversations that you may have had with yourself or you may need to have with yourself, understand that it's okay to seek professional help. It's okay to seek counseling to deal with those issues or any other issues that will help you be successful after the weight loss surgery. Again, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for people to talk about mental illness. It's not something that, as a society, we discuss very often. It's very taboo, and it's unfortunate because in many ways it can be helpful. I know people who have gone to therapy that don't feel that there's anything wrong with their lives, and actually their therapists haven't either, but they go to make sure that they remain healthy, that they continue on a good path, and it might be just a tune-up for them. And even if you do struggle, that's okay. And understand that you can get help. There's many avenues, if you're someone that has insurance or if you don't have insurance, there's a lot of programs nationally that are available that, so the therapist or psychiatrist may see you on a sliding scale. They may have options for you for grants, so that you're helped. I mean, there's ways to get help, and like I said, I say all this today with love, and I want you to be successful. I don't want you to struggle with things that you struggled with before, and you lose all the weight. And even if you start to lose the weight and feel uncomfortable, because it's different. If you've been overweight most of your life and now you're thin, it is an adjustment, and you're not necessarily going to get the right answers for that help that you need to help you through that through support groups online. And hopefully, if you do attend a support group in person, it's being led by a professional that can actually help and guide that process. But feel free to reach out to me. I talk to people all the time, and if I can be of help to you in any way, help you find some resources in your area, I'd be glad to do that. Because I want you to be successful. I want you to feel comfortable in your own skin. I want you to be able to make decisions that will be great and positive for your life and this new journey that you've gone on. So, a little longer video than normal. I think these Let's Get Real videos are going to be a little bit longer, but like I said, they're going to be some tough subjects. But I hope you found this one helpful, and be sure to check out all of my channels: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the WordPress site. And we'll go through some other good subjects coming up in the future. And I'm also going to do a video on my revision surgery and let you know how that's going. But I'll save that for another day. Take care.